Hello.
Hey,
How are you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. Okay. Yeah. Um, so I finished going through some of my practice tests where was seeing the struggle was the biochem, the um
Passages,
the passages, yeah.
the
They're
graphs
getting
and the
me.
charts. Yeah.
Like the graphs and stuff, the interpretation of them, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, has not really, I don't really understand what's going on in kind of a bunch of them.
All right. Why don't you, show
Yeah,
me.
I'll share my screen. Here it is. First one I was good with. I think this, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Next
And
page.
also, like, the Kaplan stuff is going to be more minutia. So, but.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
understood like this reading. I
Okay.
went through that and I understand, but then I have like absolutely no idea what the graph is showing me. Um,
All right. Let's see the graph.
so maybe I don't like I don't really
Okay.
know.
So there seems to be an inverse relationship between the clearance and the size of whatever the molecule is. The larger the size, uh, the worse the clearance.
Yeah, so I see that, but I don't understand like what that's telling me. I can tell as size goes down, but like in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
the passage, I don't really understand like what this data is like showing.
Okay, so apparently it seems that when you administer dextrins, that your kidneys have a harder time passing them if they are large.
Wait, so actually,
Mm-hmm.
for I'm looking at like what I was writing when I was looking at this day. So for the independent variable of like this, I put wait, where was it in here that like just the study? I just want to like make sure.
So the independent variable is always going to be the x-axis,
Yeah, ooh. Okay,
and
interesting.
because the y-axis is actually f of x. Do you know what I mean when I say f of x?
The y-axis is f of x, like a function of x. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So x, is independent, but when it goes through a function, it's going to be changing. It's going to change because of, it being a function.
Yeah, but like I don't really understand just this experiment. So it's like to confirm the charge barrier has been impacted, administration of neutral and anionic dextrins of varying
Yeah.
molecular weight.
So the first figure is about the size, but since they're talking about charge barrier and they're using neutral and non-neutral dextrins, the second figure should show us something involving charge. All right, there we go. So now we have basically dextrin sulfate. That's an anion, so it's charged, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're going to compare normal to when it seems like for some people the kidneys have something called a charge barrier dysfunction, where something basically there's the barrier that enables charged particles to clear through gets messed up. So, uh-huh.
Yes. Okay, wait. So, well, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, yeah. So
Are you
I
still
think it
sick?
said
Are
something
you
like
getting
that.
your zinc and your vitamins or
Not
sleep?
enough, clearly.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I know. This is like not never ending cough.
Yeah. like gargling with like salt water also helps.
I know. I've been taking like medicine too.
Mm-hmm.
I
Why do you
don't.
think gargling with salt water would help?
I'm hoping. I'll keep you updated.
Oh wait, no. Why do you think it would help?
Oh, oh, why do I think it'll help?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. NaCl. I don't know. I I really couldn't tell you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say that there's bacteria there at the back of your throat or something, right? Um, and bacteria, they have cell walls, right? And you're using salt water to create a hypertonic environment.
Mm.
Do you remember
Oh,
that?
so then they shrivel. That's when they shrivel, right?
That's when yes, because the water gets sucked out.
Hypertonic environment means that there are more solutes on the outside, right?
Correct.
So then the
Which
water
means that
goes.
there's less water on the outside and more on the inside. And so the water goes from high to low
So the
and
cells shrivel
leaves.
and die.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I'll think about that when I gargle tonight.
Yes. Good.
um, okay, wait, okay. So I think what was I asking? Oh, the
How are your lymph nodes?
they're like they're not like huge, but they're definitely like bigger than they should be.
Mm-hmm. What do you think they would be filled with if you were sick?
Oh, I hate the immune system. I'm like there yet, but
Yeah.
wait, did you just kill a bug or were you clapping?
Oh, I was killing a bug.
Oh. um, what would they be filled with? Can you give me a hint?
um, so I kind of like made an analogy for this earlier. Let me see if I could bring it in. But basically, like, so neutrophils, right? Here.
So I did do something about that last week or something, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So the neutrophils are like, think of them as like a cop, like a regular, patrolman.
Oh, that's in your
Mm-hmm.
Unky.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're the first responders, right? They're the first ones to the scene, um, but they're not really like they're not able to remake their peroxisomes, so they basically are they die when they kill something bad.
Oh yeah, so they're like sacrifice themselves.
Yep. Yeah. And then there are eosinophils, which I think of as fumigators. They basically just, release a bunch of things that uh, into that in that localized environment.
That's the one with the E, right?
Yeah. And then there are basophils, which are like firemen, and they can help like
Oh
the
yeah, so those two both release histamine, right?
um let's see. Um,
That's what I have in my.
I think it might be the basophils. Let me.
Yeah, I have that they use basophils and the eosinophils release histamine, but
Yeah.
the eosinophils are after like injury and parasites, and then the basophils are
Mm-hmm.
like an allergic reaction.
Yeah. So it's the basophils that basically um, release like histamine. They also release something called heparin, but why would they release histamine?
Um, Histamine to cause an allergic reaction, I guess.
So an allergic reaction can cause like histamine, but histamine itself is a vasodilator.
I didn't know that.
So it widens the blood vessels, which enhances the flow of blood to the injured tissue and makes it more permeable so that neutrophils and clotting proteins can get to the connective tissue more quickly.
Wait, it widens the blood vessels.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens?
So since most of these things are, they travel through the blood, like neutrophils and things like that, they are going to be like more of them are going to go to that scene, go to that localized area.
Allows. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. And yep. And yeah, there's also like the like lymphocytes and monocytes. So the monocytes, there's a macrophage. So tell me what macro means.
Big.
Phage?
Eater?
Correct.
Okay.
So I think of them as riot police. So they're like neutrophils, but they can
Wait, did you say monocytes though, or macrocytes?
Macrophage, which is a type of monocyte. Like
Oh,
the three categories are granulocytes, which contain granules, so they release little things. Monocytes, which don't, and lymphocytes, which are, they originate from the like the bone marrow, so that's where like the B cells and the T cells are.
yeah, I have to go over this time.
Yeah, so the monocytes, aka the macrophages, they basically consume, like, in addition to like the pathogens, the dead and dying cells, and they can basically eat 25% of their own volume per hour.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's why they're big macrophages.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like the lymphocytes, like the B cells and the T cells, I think I wrote that they were like special forces.
Yeah, I like saw that Anki card, but I didn't get up to it yet, so I didn't like stress myself out about it yet.
Yeah, they take longer to mobilize because they're not innate immunity; they're adaptive. So they're specially trained to do specific functions, like attack like a specific like organism or pathogen or something like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking at that card I made. So basically, I said they're like beat cops. First responders, they kill the pathogen by phagocytosis, but since they cannot... oh, sorry, I said peroxisomes, my bad. I meant lysosomes. Since they cannot renew their lysosome... because a peroxisome basically, contains peroxide, like hydrogen peroxide, so it kills things that way. But yes, since they cannot renew their lysosomes, they die and they turn into pus. So, in your lymph nodes, if they're swollen, they're dead neutrophils. Eosinophils are like fumigators that are prominent at sites of allergic reactions. And yes, parasites. And they release chemicals that perforate cell membranes. Often you will see like things that kill, bacteria and stuff by like if you perforate a cell membrane, right, it's going to be exposed to like, a non-isotonic environment. So that's going to cause them to like either like, shrivel up or like blow up. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go over like the
Yeah.
I didn't do the adaptive immunity yet, but I only like skimmed the innate immunity.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yeah. Yeah, and the last one is just lymphocytes. So I said they're like special forces because they take the longest to mobilize, but they're specially trained to target specific pathogens. They're responsible for the production of antibodies, which target specific antigens, and are more common in the lymphatic system than in the bloodstream. So they include B cells, which secrete antibodies as plasma cells, and T cells, which mediate B cell activity. They're also involved in the destruction of virus-infected body cells via cytotoxic T cells or NKC, natural killer cells.
Got it.
All right. So anyway, let's get back to this.
Okay. Where was I?
It's also a good practice to look at. I don't know. Like this is also like kind of separate, but look at like the ingredients of things, and just to think about it, I guess. Like I have Tums here. What do you think this would have? It's for like if you're have a lot of like heartburn.
I have no clue. Something basic, maybe?
So something basic or something that will take the H plus. So maybe like an anion. So it contains calcium carbonate. So that the carbonate ions can take up to, hydrogens to become whatever. But yeah. Anyway. Okay. So
yes, this.
Yeah. So yeah.
So the independent variable, I know like it's the X and Y, but then like the fractional clearance, like I wasn't really sure what that was measuring, like in terms of, because I figured they're doing this to figure out like if the charge barrier is impacted or not. So I don't really know if like high fractional clearance is going to do that or low. I have no idea.
Oh yeah. So
and then
so
the
you want
independent variable I thought was the whether it's anionic or neutral, the dextran, and then the molecular weight, because that's what it kind of was talking about up here. And then the dependent variable, I have the fractional clearance, but I wasn't really sure. Like looking at this, like I see as the molecular weight gets bigger, the fractional clearance decreases, but I don't know what that has to do with the charge barrier.
Okay, so that's in figure 2. So this is where they use they're still using size, like radius, but they're using dextran sulfate, which is an anion.
Yes.
So, if it's normal, right, you should get that kind of curve where it pretty much, you want good clearance, because things that you like ingest, they go through like into your blood, and your blood filters,
Is the higher clearance then like a fine charge barrier, like the charge barrier of the kidney or whatever we're looking at is not affected?
Oh, so just fractional clearance is just what we measure because you want it to be high. Because that means that it goes through, your blood gets filtered by your kidneys, and then your kidneys clear it out through your urine.
Okay.
So in figure 2, I see like normally, like, the fractional whatever clearance, right? It kind of like just goes down. But if you have a charge barrier dysfunction, it seems like all those levels are higher. So I have a somewhat of an idea of charge barrier, but I would need to see like what they say about it to have so like let's see. Okay, all right. Protein urea is the abnormal presence of protein in the urine. Let me ask you this: what's glycosuria?
Glyco sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sugar in your urine?
Yes. That's a common symptom of diabetic people.
Diabetes, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So they're saying that having, too much protein in the urine is a hallmark of nephrotic syndrome. Okay. So they're saying that it could be caused by damage to the glomerulus, which is, the thing. There's like the Bowman's capsule, and the glomerulus is like basically like where the blood gets filtered through into the
This one also is like weird for me because the kidney is kind of like also not my thing. Like the ones we're going over today are also like on things that like I really am.
I have in that one note like a thing on kidney.
Yeah, you do. That's what I'm just pulling up now. But, yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, what you have, right, is you have like basically it's your blood pressure that pushes through like filtrates and stuff like that into your glomerulus, or however you pronounce it, and then it basically it's through the proximal convoluted tubule. That's where there's okay. So tell me what's the difference between reabsorption and secretion?
I know I'm pretty sure the descending one does the reabsorption, and that's
just in general, like what does reabsorption mean and what does secretion mean?
Oh, reabsorbing, like you're taking it back in, and then secretion, you're getting
taking
it out.
It back into what though?
You're reabsorbing it into like the bloodstream or the cell.
Good. Yep. And then secretion is basically going to, be in your urine. So in the PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, there's a reabsorption of water, ions, organic nutrients, and all of this is, so in that drawing I made underneath, I kind of like demonstrate like where the cortex is and the medulla. And, the cortex, which is the outer layer, cortex of anything that means basically outer layer. So that's basically has like a concentration or like osmolarity, right, of like 300 millimolar. And the medulla is between 400 and 1200. So essentially, as you go deeper down from the cortex to the medulla, you're going to have an increase in solute concentration of that area, which means that it becomes more hypertonic, which means that there's going to be water leaving and essentially being reabsorbed.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. So, they're saying that, so if there's damage to the glomerulus, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be, like, weird things or certain things, like, maybe it won't, it won't, like, pass from, your blood to the kidney, like, maybe water, ions, or something else. So, like, including proteins. I have, like, there. Like, my best notes are, like, in this, like, notebook from when I first studied for this, which is, from, like, a lot of different sources. So this is, like, what I use for reference. So, like, here, like, I have something on the kidney, like, in terms of, like, something that's more specific. Because, it's going to, like, also in the PCT, you're going to have, reabsorption of proteins, but it depends on their size. Okay, got it.
Right.
So, you see that?
A little. 'Cause
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
so basically, yeah, in the PCT, basically, what you have is so okay. So it basically just it's where
Um.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can go over that.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to this. Okay.
Yeah. I don't really.
So yes, low from abnormal amount of low molecular weight proteins in the blood, increased activity. Okay. Decreased reuptake of proteins. Okay. All right. So, if there's some type of damage that prohibits or inhibits or whatever the reabsorption of the proteins, then that means it's going to come out in the urine.
Yeah.
So now this graph makes a lot more sense because now fractional clearance is not really a good thing because it means fractional clearance just means what comes out in your urine. At least that's what I see so far. Let me see the rest of this passage. So let's see. So the glomerulus has a physical and electrical. Oh yeah.
Sorry. That
Yeah.
went way too fast when I moved my hand.
Oh yeah.
Tell me when.
Oh no, I was just that's fine.
Good.
So there's a physical and electrical boundary to the passage of protein. Okay. All right. Then they just talk about more stuff. Podocytes. I have that stuff in that one note as well. So let's see. Okay. Charge barrier can be determined without associated changes in the structure of the filtration membrane. This type of damage to the kidney can be determined by use of endogenous molecules. What's endogenous?
I don't know. I'm guessing it's coming from outside, but I could be wrong.
Endo?
What?
Endo versus exo.
Oh, endo's inside.
Yep. So they're saying it could be determined by the use of endogenous molecules like IgG, which is it's an immunoglobulin, aka like an antibody, and something called transferrin. So IgG is very big, and it's not. Or what do you think fenestrae means?
Fenestrae?
Yeah.
Where are you? Oh, I literally thought that might have just been a structure. I saw that and was like, what is that?
Okay, so so for some reason I learned things from movies and stuff. So there's a word called defenestrate, and it means to throw someone out of a window.
Oh.
So fenestrate is a kind of it's a window.
Okay.
Or when I mean window, I mean an open window.
Okay.
So these are openings. There's little tiny openings in the glomerulus, which allow certain things to pass through. But if the things are too big, bigger than the fenestrae, the windows, then they're not going to pass through, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't know what fenestrae meant, but I got
the context. I just wanted to...
large so it can't pass through, and then the transferrin is small, and the charge barrier is what makes it not
correct. Good.
I get what's happening.
Yeah.
I just don't get the graph, but I get the words.
All right, let's see. So, so the ratio of transferrin to IgG, if it's greater than 10, which means that there's 10 times as much transferrin as there is IgG, then the charge barrier is going to be messed up.
Yeah, I get that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just am I don't really get the graph.
Okay, so I see that first graph. Let me see the next one and what's after it, what they say after it.
This is all. Oh, this is all they say after it.
Oh no, all the way in the bottom.
Oh, this is just about the medications or whatever.
So if it cannot be corrected through medication and transplant, okay. Shut down, okay. Indomethacin, all right. Okay. All right. So basically, okay, fractional clearance goes down with size of the molecule, which is, that physical kind of barrier aspect of it. And then the second figure.
But what is like the fractional clearance like telling us? Like that's what I don't really understand. Like I can see their relationship. Like I understand that they have like an inverse relationship. I just don't know what that means in terms of like relating it to the passage.
So let's see if you go up if they say anything, but I'm pretty sure it just means it's going to go through. It's going to get through those barriers.
Like what the dex whatever the dextrans or like what's gonna get through? What is
yeah, basically anything. Like it's like what shows up in your your urine. So essentially, like, so it's saying that the smaller the molecule, right, the more of it will appear in your urine. And they kind of talk about that in that first paragraph where they say other forms of protein urea may result from an abnormal amount of low molecular weight proteins in the blood.
So what does this have like how is that relevant to the charge barrier? Because that's what we're trying to figure out, right?
Oh, so this is just a control over here.
So
Because if
figure
you
one
want to see that, so yeah, if you want to see if the charge barrier is impacted, we're going to first check it out in a neutral, like using neutral ones for a healthy person.
Yeah, see, like this is what I didn't know. Like I had no idea that was a control.
Oh yeah. So in figure one, they say clearance of neutral dextrin in a healthy individual, right? So
yeah, okay.
and then above that, right? They say to confirm that the charge barrier has been impacted, they administered neutral and anionic dextrins of varying molecular weights, and then that's like the purpose of this experiment. It's to confirm that a charge barrier is being disrupted. So now here it is.
Yeah, but then looking at this one, like how do we know the like I know it's saying like charge barrier dysfunction, but like what is this telling us?
Oh, okay. So this is saying that, let's see, that there's greater clearance, like more stuff can go through for this dextrin sulfate. Same kind of principle as above, where if it gets larger, it's going to have a lower clearance, so it's not going to appear in your urine. But now, if you compare it to someone who has charge barrier dysfunction, right? Then that fractional clearance stays larger. Like if you look at any like data point that's normal and then look at its corresponding data point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically that's just saying that like if the charge barrier is dysfunctional, more things can go through, and that's why you're getting protein in your urine.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I get that now. I didn't really get the graph, so that's like really all I didn't get. So I probably could do the questions. A concern. Let me just like see if I can do this one. If not, then go through all the others. But a concern in patients undergoing dialysis treatment is a buildup of aluminum in the blood because of the reduced blood pH. Aluminum most likely exerts its detrimental effects on the body by reduced blood pH direct. Actually, dialysis is talked about down here. Dialysis functions through effusion and osmosis.
Yeah, so you see how one of the secondary conditions is acidosis?
Oh, yes, here. develop secondary acidosis. So that's like when you're
so that's why it's saying, reduced blood pH.
Okay. So reduced blood pH. Let's start with D because I X'd this out.
All right.
Increasing the blood osmolarity and decreasing the blood pressure. I actually really don't know why I X'd that out because I'm kind of confused reading this now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any patient that I don't know. I guess I really couldn't tell you actually. After the kidney function is halted, the patient must undergo dialysis to filter blood. I don't know. I think I just didn't think it had anything to do with blood pressure, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So what's important to see here is that it says dialysis functions strictly through diffusion and osmosis. So unlike a kidney, which has, these fenestrated, membranes that enable, specific, it doesn't have a charge membrane. Or I'm sorry, a charge barrier. It doesn't have those, fenestrations. So it just functions through essentially osmolarity. Right. So for instance, acidosis, right? And anemia, right? Those things are acidosis, right? That can happen in your blood because, when CO2 is in your blood, your your red blood cell will help it, that kind of equilibrium between CO2 and carbonic acid and bicarbonate ion. But since the blood, and then anemia, which is, essentially blood cells which don't have that iron component. And then,
But then where are we looking for? Wait, are you talking about blood pressure right now? I'm a little lost.
Oh, no. I'm just talking about so if dialysis functions strictly through diffusion and osmosis, how why would they develop things like acidosis, osteoporosis, and anemia? So in our blood there's calcium ion, right?
Yes.
And our kidneys can help regulate that, but if we're using dialysis, which doesn't work on that, it only works through diffusion and osmosis, there's going to be a disruption of calcium. So when I see osteoporosis, I see all of these things, right? Acidosis, right? H+ concentration, ion, right? Osteoporosis, right? Calcium, ion, right? Anemia, iron, ion, right? AKA no charge barrier.
Okay.
Do you see how that
acidosis? So basically, you're saying all these there's ions.
Yep.
So if there's ions, you wouldn't want the charge barrier because then they're coming through.
Yeah, whatever the charge barrier, essentially does, it isn't using that. It doesn't use a charge barrier.
But how does that have to do with this question?
Oh, I just wanted, since they're talking about dialysis, right?
Oh.
And they're talking about aluminum, which is a ion, right? A metal ion.
Yeah.
And then they're saying the buildup of aluminum is because of the reduced blood pH, which is the acidosis.
Wait, actually, I only picked this now that I'm thinking about this because I know what metal cofactors do.
Mm-hmm.
but that's like I had no idea like what's going on here. I just like from biochem, everything is like Mg2 plus being used and stuff.
Okay, so all right, let's see that. So it's true that that can happen, but why would it happen? It would happen because there's going because
Stabilize the charge, right?
what's that?
Doesn't it just stabilize the charges?
Well, yeah, like as a cofactor and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But since the people undergoing dialysis don't have that, uh, there's a disruption in the passage of ions, namely like calcium ion, iron ion, and whatever hydronium ion. That means that that means that they're saying because of that acidosis aspect, there will be a buildup of aluminum, right? And then they're asking why is it bad to have a buildup of aluminum? So okay, if you looked at D, right, increasing the blood osmolarity and decreasing blood pressure. So like a couple of things. So like first of all, we have to see if aluminum will increase blood osmolarity.
How do we figure it out?
Oh, well, basically osmolarity, right? It depends on the amount of like salt concentration. But the second thing is the decreasing blood pressure.
Okay, and that's like what threw me off, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't even know anything that we talked about blood pressure in this passage.
Mm-hmm. So that's like more related to like things like whatever angiotensin and things like that. Like it doesn't really. I'm sure I can't find it in the notebook, but I did write something.
But how do we get rid of like D?
Uh-huh.
Is what how do we get rid of that?
Because basically is the buildup of aluminum going to increase the salt concentration, and the second part is will an increase in salt concentration decrease blood pressure? So there's two ways like of looking at this. Like if one of them you don't know the answer to, the other thing can help you achieve that answer.
So how do we know that aluminum? Well, I guess aluminum just isn't like related to the salt concentration. Is that what we're saying?
Oh, I found it. It's in galvanic cells for some reason.
What is it? What is this about?
In your notebook where I talk about how this stuff relates to blood pressure and stuff like that.
Where is it?
Well, okay. So the thing to know here, it's in content 2 Roman numeral and then galvanic cells. I don't know why I put it there.
Okay.
But I go in pretty in depth here. Like I wasn't satisfied with just saying blood pressure. I wanted to be precise and say that there could be an increase in blood volume, which can increase blood pressure. So let me put it this way, right? If there's a higher blood osmolarity, right, that means that there's a higher salt concentration in the blood, right?
Okay.
And so if there's a higher salt concentration in the blood, there's a lower water concentration, right? So water is going to move from like your organs or whatever to your blood to create, a higher blood volume. And higher blood volume should do what to your blood pressure?
Well, volume, if you have more, wouldn't it I want to say increase, but I don't think it is. Hold on. No. Did you say yes or no?
Yeah.
Actually, don't tell me.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. More, then there's more pressure. Okay. Okay.
Wait, what? Were we gonna say something or?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I they're like
Okay. So increasing the blood osmolarity would increase the blood pressure. So we're getting rid of that.
exactly.
Um,
So see how like how I was saying, like there's two things here. One is aluminum going to increase the blood osmolarity? We're not certain, right? But the second thing that we can see is, would increasing blood osmolarity cause a decrease in blood pressure? It shouldn't. It should cause the opposite.
okay. So then C, providing a binding scaffold for platelets at the dialysis site.
Oh, and just
I
quickly, you know how they say like if you have high blood pressure to reduce sodium intake?
Yeah.
That's because sodium increases blood osmolarity, right? Which would
Yep.
increase blood pressure. Okay, so yeah, just tying in like a lot of things here.
Okay. C.
Okay, providing a binding scaffold for platelets at the dialysis site.
Like what?
So, like, that's, well, I mean, it doesn't really, yeah.
Like I just have no idea what this means. So I guess I got rid of it, but I don't know why I would get rid of something I don't know what it means because maybe that's like important. But
Oh yeah, yeah. This is
I mean,
more
I
along.
took the test quite a bit ago, so maybe I
Yeah.
had a legitimate reason, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't think of it now. So
Yeah, that's more along the lines of like I forgot what it was called. It was like with platelets. I think it was called. It's like there's a word for it that because to fix like a wound or something, right? The platelets come into play, and then they create like a blood clot. So there's clotting agents, which are in
oh
the
yeah, like
shape.
the thrombox and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in the shape of a scaffold.
Okay. So I don't know what that means, so I guess we'll just get rid of that.
Yeah, it
The
doesn't have
directly
anything to
op
do with that
yeah,
here.
I didn't think so because it has nothing to do with anything. But directly oxidizing hydrogen ions to gas in the to hydrogen gas in
Oh,
the blood.
fibrinogen. That's what it was called. Sorry.
Oh. Directly oxidizing hydrogen ions to hydrogen gas in the blood. Directly oxidizing hydrogen ions. Hydrogen ions aren't going to get oxidized, will they?
Oh, I just wanted to quickly say that maybe if you want to write it down, fibrinogen, right? That's the thing that makes that scaffold.
Fibrinogen makes what scaffold?
Oh, so like when you like
The
are
clotting?
bleeding, yeah, when you're bleeding, so all right, so yeah, all right, whatever.
Oh, the scaffold for platelets.
Mm-hmm.
For the clotting.
Yeah, and also
Okay.
like serotonin also comes into play there, but yeah.
Okay. Um,
Which is a vasoconstrictor, but yeah. All right.
okay, so
Directly oxidizing hydrogen ions to hydrogen gas in the blood. That's not good.
I wouldn't have thought of that at
Oh
all.
wait, well, that would be a detrimental effect. So, okay, so that part I suppose would, but also like, all right, so there's
So I just thought, are we really like hot oxidizing? Are we gonna oxidize a hydrogen ion? How do you even do that?
so
Maybe you
like
can.
the hydrogen ion is gonna actually be like hydronium ion, right? Because you can't just have protons like moving around. But then oxidation means loss of electrons, right?
Wait, I thought you like we're having H plus though. I thought there'd be some H pluses around.
Oh, so H plus is
It's
really,
like the same as the hydromium. Yeah,
yeah,
actually.
it's just an easier way of writing it. because H plus is really just a proton, and in reality, protons can't just be willy-nilly. So, but yeah, think about the hydronium ion. It's positively charged. If it's oxidized, which means there's loss of electrons, and it's already positive, it should become more positive, right? It's not going to neutralize it. And hydrogen gas is neutral, zero charge. So, if anything, it would be reducing.
Okay, I'm not 100% sure on that, but...
Oh, just think of, H... All right, we can just think of it as H plus then. And oxidation is loss of electrons, right?
Yes.
So, if something's positively charged and it loses electrons, it'll become even more positively charged.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just was like, hydrogen's ion is not going to get oxidized. That's...
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, how to... Yeah. Because hydrogen gas is zero, has a charge of zero. So, in this statement would be correct if it was reducing.
Okay, so then replacing other metal ions, how do we know this is true? Because it doesn't really talk about like that either in the passage.
Mm-hmm. So, two ways. One, the way that we just did, where we made sure every single other choice is not true. But two...
Yeah, but then I feel like I wouldn't, if we did it, well, what's the second way, actually?
Sorry. Yeah, so two is, what, when we have metal ions in our blood, what do they, act as, right? So, like magnesium, for instance, and...
Oh, so like how we did it before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So, I just want to go over the other passage quickly, because before I like completely lose all my focus. It's like the graphs again. The questions, I'm going to try. If I don't get them, I know where to find you. Frick. Oh, passage 3. Oh, did I do it? No way I did it. Oh, no, I did do passage. These are the discrete questions. Got them. Okay. Because, yes, this. I feel like this is something a little like more realistic, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it says single-celled organisms, so virus, it cannot be.
Yeah, wait. Okay,
and then
single-celled organism.
And prokaryote and bacterium are the same?
Oh, shit. The hell, yeah. Damn it. Okay. Yeah, so I wasn't really sure what's going on in these experiments, I'll be honest with you.
Uh-huh. Oh, they're just, okay, they're conducted to study the development of the cell, right?
Yeah, we're trying to, oh, wait, actually, no, we'll do the passage first. Okay, so yes, we're led to discoveries, role of the nucleus.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to see the role of a nucleus, right? So they have the acetobilaria, which doesn't have a nucleus, right? How do we know that? I see in experiment 2, and I think you had that highlighted, right? The nucleus of acetobilaria mediterranea.
So I don't understand like why we did these 4 experiments. Like, I have no idea what's going on in them.
Oh, we're just comparing something that has no nucleus to something that is a nucleus, and then, we're seeing, like, how does that regulate cell function?
Okay, so can we go, like, through each of the experiments? Wait, so...
Yep.
Early experiments, so we just want to figure out the role of the nucleus in the regulating cell function, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then how we do that is we do these 4 experiments.
Okay, so experiment 1 says that they cut the stalk of the cell, and, before that we know that this thing has a cap, a root-like rhizoid, and a stalk, which connects the two. So if you have...
Wait, that's why I thought it was a virus.
Oh, Well, which part?
'Cause, well, I don't know, like the capsule.
Oh, you're thinking of like the capsid?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. um, yeah. The capsid is like a, kind of like a protein
Are
coat.
viruses just not single cells? I did not know
Oh,
that.
they're not, yeah, they don't have a cell at all.
Oh, no cell. Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a
They,
dead giveaway.
yeah, they have like some, capsid of like, some type of like
Oh, and that's what I was thinking of.
hmm
Okay. Okay. So experiment one. We are cutting out the stalk.
Yeah. So first of all, they say a set of Balaria has a cap. Think of that as this hand or fist or whatever, and a root-like rhizoid, and then what connects the two is the stalk, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Now, experiment one, they cut the stalk, so that's gone, right? So now
Yep.
the cell is cut in half. One part has the cap, one part has the rhizoid.
Got it.
The one that has the cap died. The one that has the rhizoid regenerated. Became more.
What and why do we care about this though?
Because we know that there's 3 regions. Now we know that like we're getting insight into the function of those regions. So the cap doesn't seem to have any, any job in causing the cell to regenerate.
Okay, so the rhizoid's important is what we need to know.
Yep.
Okay. Experiment 2 now.
Yes. So now they take a nucleus from something else. And they yep.
Got it. So this is not the same thing. That's another thing.
There's
a little confused
2
about.
things that aren't the same here, right? There's the Mediterranean. It has a nucleus, and it has a cap, but the cap is flat. And then they have Crenulata, which also has a cap, but it's tufted, like it's like kind of like shaped.
Okay, wait. So we're taking the nucleus from something else with a flat cap.
Yeah. And we're putting it into something that has a tufted cap, and we're taking the nucleus out of that thing that has a tufted cap. So why are we doing that? So they said that the one that we took the nucleus out of.
Wait, we're taking the nucleus out of the flat cap, and we're putting it in. But are we? Okay, and this second thing doesn't have a nucleus. The crenulata, the one we're putting it in, doesn't have a nucleus. We're giving it one.
Well, kinda like it does. We removed it.
Remove the nucleus.
Yeah.
This nucleus we're removing isn't the one that we just put in, though.
Correct. We took.
Okay, so
we took
now it only has the other guy's nucleus.
Yeah, it has a flat guy's nucleus.
Okay.
And so what would happen, right? So it made a flat, cap. So now we know that nucleus, right, has an effect on creating the cap.
Wait, so basically now the AC guy has flat cap,
Yep.
flat shape. This is like kind of a weird, this is a lot to reason, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
This creates cap. I think also all the assay root that confused me.
Yeah, if I were to like draw it out, I would write like maybe like nucleus, arrow to like cap, I suppose, or something.
Okay, so now we're in 3.
Okay.
Now
this time the one that has a flat cap, like they took the nucleus out before it first formed the cap, which kind of like gives you like some like the answer of what we got before, which is that the nucleus kind of like Well, forget that. So the one that has...
Wait.
Yeah.
So we're taking the nucleus out of that guy before, like the flat cap guy, before he even has his flat cap.
Yep.
Okay. And then he gets a normal
cap.
But then if the nucleus is taken out, don't we know that the nucleus makes the cap? So how is he getting a normal cap?
So far, we know that the nucleus makes... the nucleus of a flat cap guy makes a flat cap.
So far we know nucleus of flat cap makes flat cap.
Yeah. Because experiment 3 says that without a nucleus, a cap can still form, but it's just a normal cap. So now it seems like the nucleus has an effect on the actual shape of the cap, as well as the viability of the cell, and that's why without the nucleus, the cell died.
Yeah, I'm like a little like not following completely. So I think I get what you say with one. I get one actually. No, I don't think I get one. I'm pretty sure I get two. Experiment 3. It's a young cell, so before it has the flat cap, removing the nucleus. But we just learned that the nucleus of this guy is what creates the flat cap. So if it doesn't have a nucleus, how is it getting a flat cap?
It's not. It's getting a normal cap.
Oh, a normal cap. Oh, okay. So it does. So something's interesting. Okay.
And then it also dies. So.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. And then experiment 4. The young. I don't want. Why do they have all these different whatever this is?
So the regular one is the one that doesn't have a nucleus, and then the Mediterranea has one that produces a flat cap, and then the Crenulata has a nucleus as well, and it has a tufted cap.
Oh, I hate why. Like, do they need to do that though? That's so annoying. A young whatever that is, fractioned into a small number of portions. So no cap is formed yet, and then several weeks later, both the portion containing the nucleus and the portion forms caps. Like, what is happening here?
So now this kind of gives you the answer because it says that it has a nucleus, so it's a eukaryote.
Oh my gosh!
But also, you know, but what else is it saying? So the point of this experiment is that...
but I thought, actually, you're right. That's why I thought it said it wasn't, because it said something about no...
The role of the nucleus?
Why did I think there was no nucleus? I don't know. I guess I thought there was no nucleus. That's annoying.
So if there was no nucleus, then it would be a prokaryote, which is a bacterium, right? So
yeah, I guess I don't really know enough about viruses.
Okay, I can send you something. I can send you something about that because I actually drew it out in this book and scanned it. So I'll add it to your notebook.
Yeah, that'd be cool because I think that's what it was. Like, if I knew a little bit more about the viruses, this might have been a little easier for me. But experiment 4.
Yeah.
So this is being fractioned. This guy with. Also, where are we getting that he doesn't have a nucleus?
What did you say about not having a nucleus?
I don't know. I thought something about a no nucleus. Never mind.
So they fractioned it. So in other ways they cut it, they cut it apart into different portions and stuff.
Cut A before cap. Both the portion containing the nucleus.
So now they're saying the part that contained the nucleus made a cap, and so did the part that has a stalk. So now we know that the rhizoid is the thing that doesn't make, that doesn't, um, like the
Wait, what's the atypical tip of the stalk? Is it just a stalk? Like, do we care that it's an atypical tip?
Not really, but if you wanted to know, it's like the part that's growing, like the tip of it.
No, it's
Apical.
okay. I have no idea why. The other portions did not form in caps, but I thought we said the rhizoid was important because it regenerates in experiment 1.
Yep.
So, wait.
But it's not. It doesn't play a role in making a cap.
Oh, so what does it play a role in? Like what?
I guess regenerating.
So then, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
What is experiment 4 like telling us?
Oh, it's just telling us that the rhizoid does not have a role in.
Oh, that's all it's telling us?
Mm-hmm.
And does it tell us anything about this stalk? Ow!
Oh, are you okay?
That hurts so bad.
Is your elbow?
Yeah, it's already like a little messed up.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah, it has a lot of nerves there.
Yeah, it's got a lot of thrombone in it.
Yeah, some erythema.
Oh, yeah, that actually really hurt. Okay. So the stalk creates the caps. You know what? Let's see if we can go through these questions really quick then. And then that's like it for today because
Yeah.
and go through the rest of the bio. I took a break from bio passages after these two.
So just to quickly summarize, this is what we know. We basically know that the rhizoid helps it make another version of itself, like regenerate. We know that the nucleus has an effect on the shape of the cap. And we know that the stalk can also have the capability of producing a cap.
Okay, I get this talking it out with you.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, I would never reason this.
Mm-hmm.
By myself.
Well, you're getting there.
Yeah. Slowly. All right, let's see if we can do the questions, and then I think that'll be really. This one I get now. I don't know anything about viruses, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I got this one wrong. Okay, so which of the following conclusions can be logically drawn from the fact that that segment, so this guy, okay.
So vestigial means that it's something that
is like goes away, right?
Yeah.
It's not important.
Like male nipples, I guess, because we're all like female first in the womb.
What?
Like we're female first in the womb before like sex is determined, before the X chromosome turns into a Y chromosome. So
that's new info.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just saw that you highlighted it, so I wanted to.
I don't know why I did that.
Oh, I assumed because the definition, so I just wanted to give you a definition.
Yeah.
But you knew it, so.
That's why I don't know why I highlighted it. Like usually that's what it is, but like I do know what that is, so I don't know why I did that. Maybe I just.
So is the appendix.
Yes, I knew that. So which of the following can logically be drawn from the fact that this containing rhizoid regenerated? Okay, so we talked about this. The rhizoid regenerates.
Yep, and then experiment 3, right?
Also, this couldn't be right because it's a eukaryote.
Yeah, but let's say you didn't know that, right?
Then it tells us nothing about budding.
So like if so okay. So in experiment 3, right? It says that when you remove the nucleus, it dies. It's not viable, right?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
yep. And experiment 1 says that the rhizoid, the fragment that contains a rhizoid, regenerates, right? Like makes a version of itself, aka is viable.
Yeah, so without the nucleus in experiment 3, we're dying, and in experiment 1, the rhizoid is living. So you need the nucleus.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'll die. And the rhizoid will...
Mm-hmm. So, like, if we don't have a nucleus, it won't be viable. If we have a rhizoid, it will be viable. So, therefore, the nucleus and the rhizoid are the same. Or in this case, the rhizoid contains...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yes, we're good. So, can we, like...
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to, I mean, budding, it doesn't like, I don't really know why we would pick that. And it doesn't really say anything about...
I could see E being something that would be picked because, it never really states that, that the Acellabularia one has a nucleus, right? All it says is that it has a cap, a rhizoid, and a stalk.
Oh, so, but, okay, so, yeah, without the question before that,
Mm-hmm.
then I guess that is harder.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it doesn't really say anything.
Oh, and then D is, like, meant to trick you by making you think that the cap is, like, the 5 cap or whatever.
Yeah, I got rid of that.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. But you're starting to see, like, how the question choices are, like, plausible. Like, otherwise,
That's why this going over this one's taking me so long, because it's like what I'm trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm. It's okay if it takes
long. And I'm trying to go through these like in depth, like these experiments, because I know these are like where it kind of gets me, so I'm trying to go into these. Like,
this is a very like like a logic kind of thing.
Are these like similar to the MCAT, or is it just like Kaplan?
Well, I mean, this passage is actually interesting because it's not like testing minutia and types of content that would be very
actually
tiny.
I will say first of all, my Kaplan class is done.
Okay.
God. Finished it yesterday.
Nice.
Second of all, my teacher for the Kaplan class did bring up those passages and was kind of like, they're like a little ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But this one is very, very nice because it's like, it's just like logic, which is basically at the heart of pretty much almost every test.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, did that one make sense?
I just don't really... Whoa, it like undid my cross out. That's weird.
Yeah, it left the cross out on the D aspect.
Yeah, that's really weird though, because you can't even like do it now. I can't now.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. So vestigial structure. Why did I pick this though?
Let's see.
Vestigial structure.
Because experiment 1 said that the one that had the cap died. So you may have thought, like, the cap isn't needed anymore.
Oh. And reality, it just doesn't do anything.
Well...
It doesn't do anything in terms of, like, the reproduction, the regeneration.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, that makes sense. Let me like briefly look. This one it looks like I got right, so I think I'm good. And then this one I can easily do because it's just mRNA to DNA. And that's right. So I think that's it.
Okay. You understand this one over here?
That's what I'm trying to just read quick. It can be inferred from because sometimes I get them right and I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It can be inferred from the experiments in the passage that the development of the cap is regulated by which of the following mechanisms? So the development of the cap.
So I see that you're between translational and transcriptional regulation.
Yes. Why did I narrow it down though? Okay.
So let me ask you this, right? Where does transcription occur?
Transcription. Oh, I always like it takes me a minute to think about this. So the transcription is the RNA to the DNA to RNA. So that occurs in the nucleus.
Yep. And translation?
And the other one occurs in the it's RNA to protein. And then that would be in the ribosomes.
Yeah, basically outside of the nucleus, right?
Yes.
So if you remove the nucleus, you can't have any transcription happening, right?
So transcript is nuke. Translation.
Yeah. Think the way I usually describe it is like DNA never leaves the cell.
No, wait, whoa.
I'm sorry. DNA never leaves the nucleus. So think of the DNA as like this, like, you know, the Library of Congress or something. You can't take any books out. At most, you can look at the books and take your notes on it, which is transcribing. And then when you leave the nucleus, you can take that and you can translate it into a different language. So from the language of mRNA to the language of protein.
Wait, so why is this translational now? So translational, it's not in the nucleus. Is it because it can be from the development of the cap?
Yeah. Experiment 4, right? So first of all, they're just talking about the one without the Mediterranea or the crenulata. So we're not going to look at 2 or 3.
Okay, so we're looking at 1 and 4.
Yeah, and experiment 4 says that, let's see, the part that basically, you know, whether you have a nucleus or not, a cap will still form. Right?
Whether we have a nucleus or not, a cap will still form.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, that clears it up.
Yeah. So, you know, if the nucleus isn't there, there can't be any transcriptional regulation.
Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah, that actually makes sense now.
Yep.
I think that's it.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to go through. That's it, just because these are the only ones that I looked at today. So I might have more tomorrow.
Okay.
But I don't know, because I'm also getting my vaccine in the morning, so.
Okay.
Which
one are you getting?
What?
Which one are you getting?
Oh, I think the Moderna one? I don't really know.
It's funny because Moderna, like their stock ticker name is mRNA, and they're an mRNA type of vaccine.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. Was there anything else? No. And then, I'm gonna take my. I think I'm gonna take my second full length, or my third, I guess, on Sunday. Does that make sense, or should I content review a little bit before?
I did want to go over, you know, remember that when you sent me that list of those topics?
Yes.
Yeah. I did want to go over those. I think I can do those pretty quickly.
So then why don't we do that tomorrow? So tomorrow in the morning, I'll look over the other things, see if there's any other passages.
Yep.
And then we can go over the list and because I'm sure, I think there was a psych passage. I might have just.
Oh yeah, you did ask me a question about that.
Oh no. I figured that out.
Okay.
I'm good with that. But I think there was a psych passage that when I was going over I might have wanted, but it could have just been that I was losing focus. So I'm gonna look at it again tomorrow, and then I guess we can meet later So just to give me enough time to look through these bio.
Yeah, that works. I'm not really a morning person.
Yeah, neither am I, but I'm trying to be because I test at 7:30 in the morning, so. But that's why by now I'm like zonked.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right,
Have a
take
good
care.
one.
You too.
Bye.
Do your gargle.
Oh, I will.
All right, see ya.